so windy out, like wildly windy, and I don't even know if you guys can hear me, but hopefully you can. I'm sitting by the water and I just wanted to get outside and get some fresh air. I'm about to start this book because I have heard such great things about this, and in this video we're going to be reading very highly rated books. I've heard that this is like incredible. It talks about grief, sisterhood, like all of the things, or not sisterhood, but like the relationship between sisters. So I feel like this is going to be a really good one. I wanted to sit outside because I feel like there are only so few months left where I'm actually going to be able to do this and actually enjoy it without it being absolutely miserable. It's like almost 50 degrees, which is just honestly wild. The wind is doing it for me though, because like it's doing me in, because if it gets any more windy, I will want to go inside. I've been trying to get outside more and more, as you guys have seen from recent vlogs, just like reading, even though it's cold, because it's been making this season just so much more enjoyable, because you guys know I typically get the winter blues, but this is one thing that's really helped me. So if you're someone who gets the winter blues, try getting outside every single day, even if it's only for 10 or 15 minutes. It makes such a huge difference. But we're gonna start this and I'll give you guys my thoughts as we get into it. Good morning, jump scare, I have braids again, and I am outside reading, obviously watching the sunrise. I have never actually sat outside in my backyard in my robe, and I think it's because I always kind of feel weird being outside in my pajamas, just like in public, you know, but it's like this is my backyard, so I should feel comfortable to do that. I have Blue Sisters with me that I am just loving so far in reading. I still need to give you guys like a little update because it's been very enjoyable and I've gotten pretty far. But I also brought out The Gravity of Us. I'm not sure if I'm going to start this now. I think that'll be the next book that I start. The vibes out here are perfect. Let me show you guys this sunrise. It is literally so beautiful. And again, I don't know why I haven't done this before. I feel like I just always feel a little weird just like in my backyard when there's a ton of houses out here, because like the yards don't have like yard breaks or anything. It just feels a little weird, but I need to be more comfortable with it because again, it is my backyard. This book doesn't come out until the 17th, so I really want to read it before then, just because I don't know, I got this as an ARC and I feel so weird getting an ARC and like not reading it during the time of like, I don't know, before the release. And I love Brittany Cherry's books, and I've read all the other 3 in the series, which you don't even need to read in order, so I really could have just jumped to this one anyway. And Blue Sisters, so we're pretty far into it. I am on page 177 out of let's see, 3:39, so we're pretty far. I am just so obsessed with the sisters, their story, just everything. I have underlined so many parts and just felt so connected to the characters. Like this part at 67, it says, a marriage turned out to be the accrual of ordinary, absolutely inconsequential acts of daily devotion, washing the mugs left in the sink before bed, taking the time to run up or downstairs to kiss each other quickly before one left the house, cutting up one extra piece of fruit to share, acts easy to miss, but if ever gone, deeply missed. I feel like that quote resonated with me because obviously I'm married to someone, and I feel like those small acts of just like showing love to someone are so important, and I couldn't imagine not having them. But you see in this book that Avery is like, she's there in her marriage, but also she's like not, and she seems like the character who's like so perfect and put together, but you realize that there's like cracks just below the surface that no one really notices. Another quote that stuck out to me is this one on 167, and this guy, he goes, I think they're trying to fall in love with life again. He said, that's what I see in the club every night, all the sex and booze and coke and ish. It's not really about that stuff. It's people who have fallen out of love with life, trying to get back to how they used to feel, you know? And I think that quote so perfectly encapsulates how, like, I forget what her name is. It's Nikki? Maybe? I forget. I should know this because this character is the wild child, Lucky. I don't know why I said Nikki. Lucky. I feel like that perfectly encapsulates what she's going through. Like, she is trying to just feel some semblance of love for life after her sister's passing. I don't know if I even told you guys what the book's about, but it's about 4 sisters, and one of the sisters passes away, and you see the other 3 sisters trying to deal with that. And on the back of the book, it literally says that. So, like, that's what the whole book is about. It's about grief and how every person navigates it so differently. I feel like if you're someone who's never had to grieve an extraordinary loss, you should read this book because you're gonna easily be able to understand how just like it completely changes your entire world. And if you're someone who has dealt with loss, I feel like you'll feel very seen, because all 3 sisters navigate grief very, very differently. I almost didn't come downtown for the library book sale because I was just like, do I need to like go? And I'm so glad I did. I got so many books, and I actually plan on putting these into a free little library that's around here. I tried to put it in the free library that's near this school in like an underprivileged area. So I'm gonna show you guys all the books that I got. This stack is huge. I have had just like, I don't know, a lot of unhauls and stuff that I've been doing to try to give back, but I feel like it's nice to get books that aren't on my shelf and not have to pay a ton, because I used to go to like Barnes and Noble and I would like buy books there to put into free libraries, but obviously that got so expensive. I got all of these books. Guess how much I paid for these? Like, guess, just take a guess. $16 for all of these books. And now let me show you guys the books that I got. You're gonna be like beach read. And these are, I mean, these came out, a lot of these this year. Romantic comedy, The Night of the Storm. This book actually looks really, really good. I think a storm happens and they have to decide like is a murder because of the storm, or did someone like murder someone within the storm like happening and then blame it on the storm. Also got The Vanishing Half and The Reasons I Married Him by Megan Quinn. Her books are super cutesy and fun, so I thought someone would enjoy that. A Dash of Salt and Pepper. This looks like a cute read. I also picked up 13 Reasons Why, which I didn't realize that this is banned in a lot of bookstores. And this was a book that I really loved whenever I read it, and I think I read it in like high school. New Girl, I tried to pick up a mix of books, like those are 2 young adult books. Also got this Sweet, Soft, Plenty Rhythm. This was actually by one of the librarians, and she came up and she was like, oh my god, I follow you, like I love your content. I was like, thank you so much, that's so sweet. And she was like, all of the books that you buy are on me. And so whenever I got up to the front, another like librarian was like, oh, like, did you like cut a deal with the other librarian? And I was like, oh no, like I want to pay for these myself, because she said that all of the money goes towards their like after school program. So they do this program where like kids come after school and they get to like do fun stuff, and like they have a Saturday program. And she said every kid that comes gets a book. And she said that they only get so much funding for like the activity, but they don't get funding for like books that they give out or like bubble blowers and like all of these like fun things they do. So she said that all the money for this goes to that. So like that's another reason why to support your local library, because when you're doing stuff that you actually enjoy, buying books, you're also giving back to the community. I know they have another sale coming up in May. I think it's like May 17th or something. So if you're ever in the area and you want to get some good books, this would be a really good place to come to, because again, they have great books. This is another young adult book. It says Gwen and Art are not in love. It says the path to true love never did run straight. And I think that this is like a fantasy, and it says advanced readers edition, which I thought was cool. Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan came out this year, guys. I mean, This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune came out this year. Like, so many incredible books. $16 for all of those. So I'm really excited. I think I'm going to keep one for myself, maybe. I haven't decided which one. I feel like once I get to the free library, I'll kind of know which one I want to keep. But yeah, I just am absolutely blown away that I got so many books for that price. Got all my books down here, and for those of you guys who said in the past that people were stealing books, I just filled this up like not that long ago, and look at all the books still in here. So I genuinely think people were just taking the books and reading them, like truly. And now it's such a nice thing to see that like even weeks and weeks later after I fill up the like free library, a lot of the books that I filled it up with are still in here. And it means that people aren't just like taking them and selling them. I think now more people in the community are helping fill up the free library. So I'm gonna try to see if I can fit everything into the bottom in here. Because there isn't like a ton of extra room. This looks so much better. I'm so sorry, you guys probably cannot even hear me because it is so windy. I swear every time I come here it's windy, but it is now all full again. Down here still has some room. There's like some cookbooks down there, but I'm gonna try to put like the fun books in the front so people can kind of like see those and get excited about reading and finding books in here. Yeah, this looks absolutely perfect. I'm really loving everything about this book, and I think it's just because it's so complex. Like, there's a part where Bonnie, she's talking about this on page 186, and she's saying how she, or maybe it's not 186, let's see, 188, she's saying how she, like her dad would always get like mad and stuff at like family and siblings and whatever, and she was saying that her father, the only time that he would just like calm down was when she was playing sports, like when he was watching her, and that was the only time that he wasn't like angry. And it's interesting because Bonnie, like her whole life is devoted to her boxing, like she's a boxer. And I just started thinking about how so much of how we decide to navigate our lives just comes from childhood trauma, or just like the things that we felt like we needed to do to make life better for us. So like for her as a kid, she's like, oh, if I play sports, my dad's gonna be happier. He's not gonna be like angry at me. It's gonna make our whole family dynamic happier. So like I should continue to play sports. Not that she didn't want to play sports, but it's like that was also a driving force behind it. And then that continued through adulthood. And I don't know, I just am seeing how like this book is doing an incredible job of showing the complexities of like family and sister dynamic. There's a quote in here. Where is it? I think it's on, can't remember. I have been trying to underline things that like really stand out to me so that I don't like forget them. But on 187, it says that Bonnie, it's like she's thinking that was family. She thought sadly, the root of all comfort and chaos. It's like that is so true, because even when you have problems with like friends, it's something different. Like if you have problems with family, you know, like even comparing the two, like if you have struggles with friendships and stuff, struggles with family almost feel like you're having an internal battle with yourself, because family almost feels like so much like a part of who you are, you know. Like if I'm arguing with my sister, it just like it's just like bites at me, you know. It's just like constantly like nagging and gnawing at me. But then like if me and my sisters are great, then it's like I feel great, you know. It's like you always have someone in your corner. And it's also really cool to read the story having three sisters. I have three sisters and two brothers, and all of us are like roughly like a year and a half apart. Like we're all very close in age, except for my very oldest sister. There's like a larger gap between her and like my second oldest sister. But yeah, this book is so good. I feel like I'm gonna try to finish the rest of this today because I have a lot of reading time today, and then really get into The Gravity of Us. I just finished this, and I think that this might be my favorite book out of the entire Element series, which is surprising because I really loved all the other ones. Like I rated them all 4 stars. I feel like I would rate this like 4.2 stars, but not quite like a 4.5, but I don't usually do like 0.2, so I am gonna like leave it at 4 stars on Goodreads. This book is so good. There's one quote that I feel like really encapsulates what this story is like trying to say. Let me see if I can find it. It was, I think on page 272, and it says, being with someone you aren't meant to be with out of fear of being alone isn't worth it. I promise you'll spend your life being lonelier with him than you would being without him. Love doesn't push things away. Love doesn't suffocate. It makes the world bloom. Like, this story has so much stuff in it. I don't even know if I like really shared everything that this book is about, mostly because I didn't really know what it was about. I mean, there's like a hospital scene in this. There is like a single dad raising a kid on his own. There is like drama after drama after drama. Like, I mean, just so much stuff happens in this story. And I think that's why the back of the book doesn't really say very much, because you can go into it not really knowing what it's about, and then you're just like, whoa, like just absolutely blown away. I think if you like melodrama, like you just like books that are so like, you know, just like, I can't even explain it, like crying in the rain, like those types of like movies or books or whatever, I feel like you will love this one. I think that this is like my 7th or maybe 8th book by Brittany Cherry. I read her books like just, I eat them up. I finish them so fast, and I literally finished this one in like 24 hours, and it has been such a great read. But I also finished the last book in the series in 24 hours. I think it's because they're like fast paced. I feel like these are great for new readers too. This story is like right at 300 pages. Oh, not even. It's 291 pages. So I feel like those again are great books for new readers if they're like less than 300 pages. Also, the words are super big. Stuff happens left and right and left and right. Like, you will not be bored by this at all. If you need a book that you feel is gonna like keep you out of a book slump and you're kind of like nearing that, read this book. It is very, 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 very good. I'm gonna go back and go to the house, probably open up a Amazon package at some point, because I have like a package at the house, and maybe like do some more reading because I still haven't finished Blue Sisters, but I definitely want to finish it. I've been tandem reading both of these, which has actually been nice, but I also don't want Blue Sisters to be over. It is just like one of those books that I feel like I'm gonna be thinking about all year. Like, the characters feel so real. Like, I literally was showering and like thinking about the characters like they're real people, which is just like they're not. So I'm loving that book, and I don't have very much left in it, so I'll probably open the package, like read, and then give you guys like a full wrap up. I have a Amazon package that I want to open with some books that I'm super excited about. I definitely want to add some of these books onto my TBR for next month. I feel like I have so many books that I like truly want to read, like truly. Like, I'm not even like, oh, like I have these books and like, you know, they'd be good. Like, no, I genuinely am like, I need to read these like right now. And there's just so many good books in the world, okay? There's just too many good books. But these books look incredible. These are the 2 books that I picked up. So the one that I want to read the most, I'll show you guys last. The first one I picked up was Never Should Have Let You Go by Elle Kaysen. This is by the author who wrote Demon's Dream, and that was a book that I rated 4 stars. Loved it. It's literally like 700 pages, I'm pretty sure, or 750 pages, and I finished it in like a few days. Such an incredible story. This one looks like a really quick read, whereas the other one was obviously super long. It's only 230 pages, but her books are the type of books that you do not want to put down. I feel like she also starts the book right away, where you like hop right into it. And I was trying to figure out a book that I wanted to read by her, like another one, and I was seeing on TikTok that a lot of people recommended this one. So I cannot wait to read this one. It says, trying to love too show ain't easy to do. Music producer Zion Brown felt every word of that lyric. When his girlfriend discovered she was pregnant, Zion was determined to step up and do the right thing by her. Then there was Nala Sullivan. She'd been his best friend until friendship wasn't enough. They'd crossed the line once, bringing unexpected complications. To save their relationship, Zion and Nala agreed to keep it just friends. But when he reveals his wedding plans, Nala starts planning as well. She's not about to lose her first love without a fight. Suddenly, Zion is feeling like he never should have let her go. Wraithford knew women. He could spot a manipulator and gold digger in an instant. Zenadia Brooks had all the signs: flawless face and body, a lavish life, and a string of wealthy ex-boyfriends. She was just the type of chick he curved on the regular, except he couldn't leave the bossed up beauty alone. Falling for her was too easy. and Zenadia was falling right along with him. Still, she wondered if Wraith couldn't get over what he thought was her past, how could they have a future? So it looks like there's a lot of different perspectives in this, which is how Demon's Dream was. I feel like it keeps her books like very fast paced. All the books that, not all of them, but like the one that I read by her, it had 4 different points of view and they all like knew each other, so it was really good. And another book that I think is the one I'm most excited about is Loved by You by Alexandria Lachelle. Now everyone on TikTok has been going crazy about this book. This is an author's debut book. She like literally wrote it, released it just like a regular author, you know what I mean? Expecting like people to like her book. No, people are obsessed with this book, and now I'm like, I need to read it. It says, when past wounds meet second chances, every heartbeat counts. This is the cover. Again, so beautiful. Like, look at that. I just feel like that's such a pretty cover. And I feel like covers like this are the books that just give depth. You know what I mean? Like, I probably shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I definitely do. This says Vanessa Taylor is doing everything right, creative, passionate, and determined to make her mark. She spent years rebuilding her life on her terms, casting aside the wounds that once held her back. But when her first love, Xavier, unexpectedly reappears, those carefully placed defenses begin to unravel. Years ago, she let him go, burying parts of herself along with him. Now he's back, older, wiser, and unwilling to lose her a second time. Xavier Morris has built his life from the ground up, carving out a thriving career and creating opportunities that once felt like impossible dreams, but something is missing. The woman who understood him in ways no one else could, even when he didn't yet understand himself. Coming face to face with Vanessa again is like feeling sunlight after a long winter. Their chemistry is undeniable, but so is the pain of the past they've never fully faced. Together, they'll confront buried heartbreak, long hidden secrets, and a love that refuses to fade. Vanessa's journey towards self-acceptance and healing collides with Xavier's drive to build a future that includes her. But can they trust each other and themselves enough to make it work this time? For readers who crave an authentic, slow-burning, soul-stirring romance, this is a story of resilience, family bonds, and second chances. Discover the journey of 2 people whose love endures time and trials, pulling them together in a way neither can resist. I cannot wait to read this. It looks like it's going to be one of those stories that has like depth and slow burn and like lots of quotable things. And the reason I think that is because it's like, it says coming face to face with Vanessa again is like feeling sunlight after a long winter. I don't feel like authors write like that unless they're going to have like a lot of that dynamic writing. You know what I'm talking about? Like the writing where you want to constantly underline and stuff. So this just looks like a book that I am gonna want to just cozy up with this winter. And this one has 415 pages, I think. No, 406. No, 404 pages. Because there's like an afterword and stuff, and I was like counting that. So I am really excited to read this. I feel like that's the perfect amount of pages, and there's like text messages in this. It just looks so good. This is the one I've been probably most excited about. I think that this is a book that I'm going to put on my TBR, I think, unless I just take it with me on vacation. I don't know. I have to decide, but this is what I've been super excited about. Okay, also I have to show you guys the foreword in this book. It says, "Loved by you, when past wounds meet second chances, every heartbeat counts." Then you go to the front and it says, "For those who have loved deeply through every storm and every heartache, for the love we give to others, the love we receive from family, and the love we discover within ourselves, may you find strength in vulnerability, healing in connection, and light in the love that endures even in the darkest of times. This story is for you. May it remind you that love in all its forms has the power to rebuild, restore, and renew." Like, does that not sound like it's gonna be such a great book with so much depth? Like, I cannot wait to read this one. feel like I'll never read a book that's more raw and like honest and just feels like exactly what it's like to have a sister. Sorry, the geese are going crazy out here. This book is just so good, and it's like, it feels like a coming of age story, but for like adults and not for like, I don't know, 15, 13-year-olds. Like, I feel like you read coming of age stories for teen stories, but you don't really read coming of age like after college. And I feel like that is like the true coming of age, because like you're turning into an adult and you're figuring out life on your own, and it's hard and it's scary. And I feel like this book is just so perfectly encapsulating all of that. Like, I have literally been thinking about these characters just like during the day, just like doing stuff like in the shower, like cleaning. Like, this book is incredible, and I've never read anything by this author, but now it's making me want to read more. I have heard that the other books this author has written aren't like the same, but this is just so good. And it's kind of wild because this isn't a book that has a ton of dialogue or has like a lot of the things that I look for in a book, but I feel like if you have sisters, you'll really like this, because I genuinely have not read anything that so accurately depicts what it's like to have a sister. It's time to give you guys a wrap up on the books that I read this week. I read 2 books in this video, but I actually did read another book. If you guys want to see like my review for this book, head over to Goodreads. There's a lot of books that I'll read that like I don't put into videos, because obviously this video I'm sharing like highly rated books, and I just feel like sometimes when I have like a specific theme or something, like I wanted to read this. I wanted to read a Christmassy read, and a lot of the time Christmassy reads don't have like the highest rating, but like I just was in the mood for that. I'm such a mood reader, so I have to like lean into what I like enjoy or like want to read in the moment. Keeps me excited about reading. But the 2 that we read in this video were really great reads. The first one that I read, The Gravity of Us, well, this was the second one that I read, but I'll talk about this one first. Sorry, my nose has like a little itch. It was so good. I feel like this story will be perfect for the person who wants to read something that's like really dramatic and is kind of like giving Lifetime movie vibes, and I really love this story. I think that this is actually my favorite out of all of the books in the Element series, and I definitely want to read the Compass series next. I actually have already added one of those books onto my TBR, just because like her books I gobble up. I literally finish them in a day. Like this one I finished in 24 hours. They're very, very easy to read and very fast reads. They all are kind of similar to one another, so you kind of have to like know what you're getting into when you read the story. But this one, I will say, like packs probably the most punch out of all of the books in the Element series. You don't need to read them in order at all. Like they don't reference anyone from the other books. They're not even in the same worlds, I don't think. I just think that like when she wrote them, maybe she just like wanted them all to be combined. They all have a similar vibe. Like they all are kind of written like small towns, like very similar vibe, but I don't think that they cross over like literally at all. So really a great book, and you guys definitely should pick it up. It comes out the 17th, so I think it'll be out by the time that this video goes live. And again, like she didn't send me this arc. I got this whenever I was at the like book conference thing. They were just giving out like bags with like arcs in them, and this was one of the ones that was in it. So yeah, loved that book. This book, guys, I do not think I have ever found a book that has made me more connected to the characters in a way that like I can't even fully describe. Like if you have sisters, you have to read this story. Like you have to do it. Like you genuinely have to, because people do not get the dynamic of sisterhood accurately in most books, and this book does. It also like definitely really like portrays grief in a very accurate way. Like not like a like perfect fluffy, it's like no, it's gritty, it's raw. This book was so good. I am still on the fence about what I want to rate this book. I have not decided if I want to rate it 5 stars or if I want to rate it 4.5. I need to sit on it for a minute, because I think sometimes I will read a book. Like I read Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I was like, oh my God, this book is so good. It's amazing. It might be a 5-star read. Went to sleep, woke up the next morning, I was like 4.5 by far. Like it's definitely a 4.5. So I don't know if I'm like still running the high of finishing this book. But also like while I was driving, I had this book in my passenger seat one day. And I genuinely was like, I kind of want to pull over to the side of the road just to like read this book. Like I'm not joking. I have not been able to get these characters out of my head. And one criteria for me for having a 5-star read is I have to want to read it again. And I can see myself wanting to read this, I think. I was annotating in this book, which I rarely annotate in books. It just is such a good read. It also is a book that I wouldn't normally think I'd be obsessed with, because there isn't a ton of dialogue and there's a lot of like backstory, not slow paced at all. Like it's very actually like a good pacing. But it just isn't like my typical read. I actually was looking at you guys' reviews on Goodreads because I was like, I need to just like hear more people's thoughts, you know what I mean? And I went onto Goodreads, and someone was saying how beautiful the writing is in this, and it reminds them of Jessa Hastings' writing. And I agree. Not the same by any means, because Jessa Hastings' writing is like completely on another planet. Like her writing is literally in a different universe. But it reminds me of it because you really get into the head of the characters. And it's not super flowery, because I'm not someone who really likes super flowery writing. But even without it being super flowery, like it just is so powerful. Like I don't know, I need to sit on this. I feel like I'm leaning towards 5 stars, but again, I might go to sleep and wake up and then like the next day and be like, ah, it's 4.5. Still incredible read. Pick this up if you have sisters, or if you have or are struggling through grief. You will fully connect with the characters. They are unlikable. Maybe I just like unlikable characters, because I know like the Magnolia Park series, like that series will forever have my heart, and they're all very unlikable. And I think that just like humanizes the story more, and it also gives me empathy for people whenever I see someone in like real life who's acting like, you know, kind of off-putting. I'm like, oh, well, like I genuinely have no idea what's happened in their life today, yesterday, or the day before. Like they could have just lost someone. Like I remember after my grandma passed, this was like a few years ago, we had to go into the gas station like right after the funeral, and I was just thinking, it's such a wild thing that like I'm in the gas station and no one has any idea that it just came from a funeral. And so someone could easily have come in and like, you know, at the cash register been like a jerk, or like, you know, annoying or whatever, and like completely threw off my day even more. Or like I could have been mean to them, and they could have been like, why are they being so grumpy? Like, why are they like this and that? But it's like no one knows what anyone else is going through. And you really see that in this story. All the girls are navigating their life so differently. There's a point where like the sisters are screaming at each other, and then 2 seconds later they're like, you know, fine. And I'm like, that is true sisterhood. Like that is sisterhood in a freaking nutshell. And I feel like this is a great coming of age story for the 20 to like early 30-year-old age. Like when you're still figuring things out, like getting out of college and you're like, you know, finding your career, figuring out what you want to do. Cause like some of the characters in this were like, they don't know what they want to do. Like what's their purpose in life? Like it is just such a great book. Please pick this up. Please pick this up. It's just so good. Again, it's not my typical style of writing that I think I would normally pick up. But I loved it. I loved every second of it. This is one of those deeper reads that I feel like will stick with me for a very long time. And it's also one of those reads that makes me realize how much I love contemporary fiction now. So yeah, I also feel like another reason why I kind of want to rate this 5 stars is because whenever I read a book that I love so much, like I am always like trying to search on like Google, like Blue Sisters, books similar to Blue Sisters, books, you know what I mean? It's like I want to read books that give me this exact same feeling, but like I can't read the book again. I mean, I can't, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's so good that I want to duplicate the feeling that I'm getting after reading this book. So, heartbreaking read, beautiful read, a raw read, an honest read. It's so good. If you're someone who likes contemporary fiction, you should read this. I do think that
it would be hard to resonate with this story if you, one, don't have sisters, or if you have not been through grief, because that's a large part of the story and they're very unlikable at times. And I think that because I've went through grief and because I have sisters who are also going through grief at the same time as me, I can better empathize with like the characters being kind of just like unbearable at times, because it's like they're human. Like that's just how humans are. Like we can't be perfect all the time. So such a great story. Have not decided, but I will put my rating on Goodreads. By the time this video is live, I'll make sure that it's on Goodreads so you guys can figure out, you know, your thoughts on whether you want to read this or not. But I've only had a handful of 5-star reads this year, and the fact that this is even a potential 5-star read is like huge. Like I think I've had like 4 5-star reads, maybe like 3 or 4 or something. It literally is not a lot. Like I'm very particular about what I consider 5-star, because the 5-star reads are books that like I want to become a part of me, like books that I want to read over and over again, books that I won't stop talking about. Like I want to go online and like look up like who would play the actors if this were a movie. Like I just love this book so much, and I'm so glad I picked it up. I actually had purchased this book, but I didn't think to pick it up until Bree shared in her vlog that it was like one of her like 6-star reads, a book that she'll never forget. And she's like, if you have sisters, you have to read it. I'm like, okay, let me pick up this book. Let me see what the hype's about, because I do have sisters, and unreal. So good. Like so good. I would love to read this in a book club and discuss this. I would love to take a class and have this as like a freaking dissertation that I like have to do for the like class and like study it. It just is a very phenomenal read that has so many like deeper themes, and like I could go on and on and on. I honestly feel like this is a great book club book. It just is. So anyway, those are my thoughts. 4 stars, almost maybe. It almost came out of my mouth. Could be 5 stars. I feel like I'm leaning towards that, but I don't know. Again, I need to sleep on it. You guys will see on Goodreads by the time this video goes live. So great books. I enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys did too, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.